Welcome! Today we are looking at sentence structure, focusing on phrases and clauses. This is a key topic in your English language exams for SS1. Pay close attention. Let us begin. First, let me explain what a phrase is. A phrase is a group of words that does not contain a subject and a verb. A phrase acts as a single part of speech. It can function as a noun, adjective, or adverb. Phrases cannot stand alone as complete sentences. They are building blocks of sentences. For example, in the morning is a phrase. It has no subject or verb. Under the table is a phrase. Running quickly is a phrase. To the market is a phrase. Understanding phrases helps you analyze sentence structure and avoid sentence fragments. Now let me explain the types of phrases. There are several types. A noun phrase is a phrase that functions as a noun. It includes a noun and any words that modify it, such as adjectives, determiners, or other nouns. Examples: the tall man, a beautiful flower, my old friend. The head word is the noun. In the tall man, man is the head noun. Noun phrases can act as subjects, objects, or complements. Example: the tall man ran away. Subject: she saw a beautiful flower. Object: a verb phrase is a phrase that functions as a verb. It includes the main verb and any helping verbs. Examples: is running, has been eating, should have gone. Verb phrases express action or state of being. Example: she is running to school. They have been waiting for an hour. A prepositional phrase begins with a preposition and ends with a noun or pronoun called the object of the preposition. Examples: in the house, on the table, under the bed, with my friend. Prepositional phrases function as adjectives or adverbs. As adjectives, they modify nouns. Example: the book on the table is mine. Which book? The one on the table. As adverbs, they modify verbs, adjectives, or other adverbs. Example: she ran to the store. Where did she run? To the store? An adjectival phrase is a phrase that functions as an adjective. It modifies a noun or pronoun. It can be a prepositional phrase, a participial phrase, or an infinitive phrase. Example: the man in the blue suit is my uncle. In the blue suit modifies man. She is eager to please. To please modifies eager. An adverbial phrase is a phrase that functions as an adverb. It modifies a verb, adjective, or another adverb. It tells how, when, where, why, or to what extent. Example: he ran with great speed. With great speed modifies ran. She arrived after the show. After the show modifies arrived. A participial phrase begins with a present or past participle. Present participles end in ing. Past participles often end in ed, n, d, t, n. Examples: running quickly, she caught the bus. Exhausted from the trip, he went to bed. Participial phrases function as adjectives. They modify nouns or pronouns. An infinitive phrase begins with an infinitive to plus verb. Examples: to read a book, to win the game, to become a doctor. Infinitive phrases can function as nouns, adjectives, or adverbs. As nouns, to err is human, subject. As adjectives, he has a book to read, modifies book. As adverbs, she called to say hello, modifies called. An absolute phrase modifies the whole sentence, not a specific word. It consists of a noun or pronoun followed by a participle. Example: the weather being bad, we stayed home. His work finished, he left the office. Absolute phrases are set off by commas. Now let me explain what a clause is. A clause is a group of words that contains a subject and a verb. Clauses can be independent or dependent. An independent clause can stand alone as a complete sentence. It expresses a complete thought. Example: she sings beautifully. The sun is shining. A dependent clause cannot stand alone. It does not express a complete thought. It depends on an independent clause to complete its meaning. Example: because she sings beautifully. When the sun is shining. These are not complete sentences. They need to be attached to an independent clause. Example: because she sings beautifully, she won the competition. When the sun is shining, we go to the beach. Now let me explain the types of dependent clauses. There are three main types. Adverb clauses function as adverbs. They modify verbs, adjectives, or other adverbs. They answer questions like when, where, why, how, to what extent, or under what condition. Adverb clauses are introduced by subordinating conjunctions such as because, since, when, while, although, if, unless, so that, after, before, until, as. Example: she left because she was tired. Why did she leave? He will come if you invite him. Under what condition? When the bell rang, the students left. When did they leave? Adjective clauses function as adjectives. They modify nouns or pronouns. Adjective clauses are introduced by relative pronouns: who, whom, whose, which, that, or relative adverbs: where, when, why. Example: the man who called you is my uncle. Which man? The one who called you. The house where I grew up is for sale. Which house? The one where I grew up. The book that I read was interesting. Which book? The one that I read. Adjective clauses usually come immediately after the noun they modify. Noun clauses function as nouns. They can act as subjects, objects, complements, or objects of prepositions. Noun clauses are introduced by words like that: what, whatever, who, whoever, whom, whomever, which, whichever, when, where, how, why, whether, if. Example: what she said surprised me. Subject: I believe that he is honest. Object: the truth is that he lied. Complement: pay attention to what she says. Object of preposition. Now let me explain the difference between a phrase and a clause. This is very important for your exam. A phrase does not have a subject and a verb. A clause has both a subject and a verb. For example, in the garden is a phrase. She walks in the garden is a clause because it has a subject she and a verb walks. Running quickly is a phrase. He is running quickly is a clause. A phrase cannot stand alone as a sentence. An independent clause can. A dependent clause cannot. Knowing the difference helps you avoid sentence fragments and run-on sentences. Now, let me explain how to identify phrases and clauses in sentences. To identify a phrase, look for a group of words that lacks a subject and a verb. To identify a clause, look for a subject and a verb. If the clause expresses a complete thought, it is independent. If it does not, it is dependent. Look for subordinating conjunctions or relative pronouns. Words like because, although, when, who, which often introduce dependent clauses. Practice identifying phrases and clauses in sample sentences. A common exam question asks you to identify the type of phrase in a given sentence. Here is a sample answer. First, determine the function of the phrase in the sentence. Does it act as a noun, adjective, or adverb? If it begins with a preposition and ends with a noun, It is a prepositional phrase. If it begins with a present or past participle, it is a participial phrase. If it begins with to plus verb, it is an infinitive phrase. If it has a noun and a participle but no verb, it is an absolute phrase. Practice identifying phrases. Another exam question asks you to distinguish between independent and dependent clauses. Here is your answer. An independent clause can stand alone as a complete sentence. It expresses a complete thought. A dependent clause cannot stand alone. It begins with a subordinating conjunction because, although, if, when, or a relative pronoun, who, which, that. It leaves you asking a question. For example, because she was tired leaves you asking what happened. That is a dependent clause. She went to bed is complete. That is an independent clause. Another exam question asks you to combine sentences using clauses. Here is your answer. First, identify the relationship between the ideas. If one idea is dependent on the other, use a subordinating conjunction to create a complex sentence. If the ideas are equal, use a coordinating conjunction to create a compound sentence. If you need to add more information about a noun, use a relative pronoun to create an adjective clause. Ensure proper punctuation. Use a comma after a dependent clause when it comes first. Do not use a comma before a dependent clause when it comes after the independent clause. Let me give you a quick summary. A phrase is a group of words without a subject and a verb. Types include noun phrase, verb phrase, prepositional phrase, adjectival phrase, adverbial phrase, participial phrase, infinitive phrase, and absolute phrase. A clause has a subject and a verb. Independent clauses stand alone. Dependent clauses cannot stand alone. Dependent clauses include adverb clauses, adjective clauses, and noun clauses. Phrases and clauses are the building blocks of sentences. Understanding them helps you write correct and varied sentences. Keep reviewing, keep practicing. See you in the next topic.